Hello, my name's Sarah Louise Wheeler and I'm making this video to try and express why I find a recent advert by the Scottish Government to be offensive and in poor taste. The advert in question is about raising awareness for lung cancer, which of course is important. But there's a depiction in the advert of a person with a white forelock, and they are the physical embodiment of lung cancer. Now, I have Waardenburg syndrome type 1, and as you can see, my hair is almost completely depigmented. But at one stage I had a bit of a white forelock before I started dyeing it to try and hide it. And there are a number of other conditions where a white forelock is a characteristic of the condition that somebody has. So you can see maybe straight away why the advert depicting the white forelock and that person as being the physical embodiment of lung cancer might be quite confronting. But you might also be thinking, but lots of Halloween wigs have a white forelock, and don't lots of witches and bad people generally in fiction? I'm sure if you start thinking about it, you can think of a number of films where either the evil albino trope, there's about 60 films in total, is present, or someone with a white forelock. I bet you can't name anyone with a white forelock in a piece of fiction who's actually a positive character that isn't in some way evil or bad. So it isn't actually a fault to anyone watching, and maybe not even the person making the advert, because it's so ingrained in the psyche that a white forelock can depict trauma and therefore also a person who's gone bad in some way. And one of the biggest proponents of this theme is Johnny Depp, who has introduced that into a number of his characters. In fact, he has one character where he brings the evil albino trope and Waardenburg syndrome together, in that one of the characters has heterochromia iridis, which is two different coloured eyes, which is also a feature of my condition. I don't have that, but my paternal great-grandmother did, and my eyes are actually are heterochromic. They're all sorts of different colours now. They used to be brown. One thing I'm going to try and illustrate here through the use of a story is how powerful fictional depictions are. So I read a story on the BBC website one time where there was a little girl and she had albinism. So she had the very white hair, sort of white blonde hair, and she went to nursery, and a little boy turned around and said, "Wow, you're like Elsa from Frozen, Elsa of Arendelle." And she, of course, is one of the silver princesses, as I would call them now. She's one of the new positive depictions of albinism and depigmentation and leucistic people generally. And so what a great day for that little girl. She went to nursery. She might have been a bit shy, thinking, oh, am I going to make friends? And straight away someone likens her to this fabulous character. What a great day. However, just think how different that might have gone if that little boy hadn't seen Frozen. I know that I know through talking to some people with albinism, some children with albinism, that they often have people saying, oh, you're like a grandma, your hair is like an old person's hair. And I've had that myself, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Everything else is more down the route of being an evil person in some way, or having been a trauma. And so where in terms of albinism that sort of depiction is now being debunked by these new depictions. Khaleesi in Game of Thrones, right up until the very end when she burnt everyone with a dragon, and there's a series in which there's sort of zombies and humans, a sort of very thing for young people. And there's also a character in that series who has, it turns out she's this cheerleading character. She's called Addison, and she's very popular, and it turns out she wears a wig because she has depigmented hair. And so I just hope that people will watch this video and realise that I'm not just kind of howling at the moon and just sort of complaining for no reason. I think For someone my age, I'm in my 40s, so it's not so bad. I look at it and I think, well, that's really terrible. They haven't thought what they're doing. But it is so ingrained in popular culture that people who are depigmented are in some way othered in that way. But I would like, if anyone from the Scottish Government and indeed the advert are watching this video, that you have a bit of a think and maybe take that video down, because children can have the white forelock from a very young age. They can even be born with it, with various conditions. And imagine what their first day in nursery would be like because of your advert. Anyway, my name's Sarah Louise Wheeler and I am not lung cancer. Thank you.